Have you ever wondered why someone suddenly takes over your thoughts, even though they are not part of your life anymore? Yesterday you did not think about them. You were busy, distracted, maybe even at peace. But today their name, their memory, their presence sits in your chest like a weight you cannot remove. They are in your dua without you meaning to mention them. They appear in your dreams even when you are not seeking them. You open your phone and something connected to them shows up. A reel, a message, an old picture. You try to push it away, but it lingers, it hurts, it confuses you. And deep down you whisper to yourself, is this love, is this regret, or is this a sign from Allah Almighty? The thought will not leave you alone, and you are left standing between hope and fear, between desire and doubt. This is the part of life no one talks about. When someone keeps showing up in your mind without reason, when their presence follows you silently, when your heart cannot decide what is real and what is fantasy. Some people rush to call it destiny. Others silence it and bury the feelings until they turn into poison. Most of us are left confused, torn between wanting to let go and being terrified of losing something that may not even belong to us. But here is a truth you must hold on to. Not every thought is love. Not every memory is a sign. And not every pull of the heart is from Allah Almighty. Sometimes it is your nafs. Sometimes it is shaitan. Sometimes it is a test to see if you will follow your feelings or your faith. You know what makes it harder? You never asked for these thoughts. You were not searching. You were not even waiting for them to appear. Yet here they are, breaking into your peace, sitting in your mind without permission. It is not only when you are alone. Even when you are surrounded by people, they come back to you. Their name slips into conversations and your heart reacts before you can stop it. Their memory surfaces in random moments, like when you hear a certain sound or smell something familiar. And then the questions begin. Why now? Why them? Why again? It feels like you are stuck between two worlds. On one side there is reality. You are not speaking to them. You are not meeting them. You are not part of each other's daily life. On the other side there is this constant reminder. The dreams that leave you unsettled, the emotions that shake your dua, the curiosity that makes you scroll back to old conversations. It is not only confusing, it is exhausting. Your heart beats faster, your thoughts run in circles, your faith feels shaken, and you ask yourself quietly, did Allah put this in my heart for a reason, or is this a trap I cannot escape? The most painful part is not even the memory of them, it is the uncertainty. You do not know whether to hold on or to let go. You do not know whether this is guidance or a punishment. And you do not know whether these thoughts are pulling you closer to Allah or further away from Him. You start overthinking. Every small sign feels like a message. Every dream feels like destiny. Every silence feels like rejection. And your heart refuses to rest. Because deep down you want clarity, you want closure, you want to know whether this is love or an illusion. This is where so many people make mistakes. We either run after these thoughts and obsess until our faith weakens, or we try to bury them so deep that they turn into hidden wounds we carry for years. Both paths leave scars. One leaves us attached to a fantasy that may never be real. The other leaves us cold and bitter, unable to trust our emotions again. But what if there was a different path? A way to face these thoughts with wisdom instead of weakness. A way to distinguish between what is from Allah and what is from our own hunger. Because not every heart whisper is divine. Some are storms that pass, others are illusions that blind, and only a few are true signs of mercy. So before you rush to act, pause, ask yourself, if this person is truly meant for me, why are they only in my thoughts and not in my life? Why do they appear in my imagination but not in my reality? And most importantly, do these thoughts make me more connected to Allah or more distracted from Him? The answers to these questions may not come immediately, but they are the starting point of clarity, because without them you will keep walking in circles, mistaking emotions for signs and desires for destiny. And that is where the heart begins to lose its balance. One of the hardest parts of this struggle is trying to name what you are actually feeling. Is it love? Is it desire? Is it regret? Or is it something else entirely? We like to label everything quickly because labels give us a false sense of control. If I call it love, I can justify the emotions. If I call it destiny, I can give my heart permission to keep holding on. If I call it heartbreak, I can excuse the tears. But the truth is that sometimes it is none of these. Sometimes it is simply your heart refusing to let go of a memory, or your mind replaying what it never fully understood. The problem begins when you confuse the whispers of your nafs with the signs of Allah Almighty, because once you do, every feeling begins to look holy, even if it is leading you away from Him. Real love is not chaotic. Real love does not drain your energy or distance you from your Lord. Real love does not feel like a storm of anxiety every time you close your eyes. Real love brings sakina, a calmness that allows you to breathe, even when life is not perfect. When Allah places love between two hearts, He also places barakah. That love inspires obedience, it strengthens faith, it reminds you of your purpose. Anything less than that is not love, it is desire in disguise. It is the ego longing to be seen and desired. It is the loneliness of the heart dressing up as divine affection. And when you mistake it for true love, you begin to chase an illusion instead of seeking truth. Obsession feels different. Obsession is heavy. It is the kind of thought that eats away at your focus, that leaves you scrolling through old messages for hours, that keeps you awake at night replaying conversations you never had. Obsession does not push you toward Allah. It makes you desperate for a human being who cannot give you the peace you are searching for. And yet, because it is so consuming, it tricks you into thinking it is special. Obsession does not soften your heart. It hardens it. It makes you restless, jealous, distracted. It convinces you that without this person you will collapse. But the believer knows that collapse comes only when the heart forgets Allah, not when it loses a human attachment. And then there is fantasy. Fantasy is the most dangerous of them all, because it does not need reality to survive. Fantasy is built on what you imagined, not what truly happened. It thrives on a smile, a kind word, a single look. From that one moment, your mind builds entire stories, entire futures, entire lives. Fantasy convinces you that this person will heal you, complete you, fix everything broken inside you. But here is the painful truth. Most of the time you are not in love with them. You are in love with what they represent. You are in love with the way you felt when you thought they noticed you. You are in love with the hope you projected onto them. But when reality does not match the dream, your heart shatters. Not because they failed you, but because your illusion betrayed you. This is why we must learn to pause and ask difficult questions. Is this love making me closer to Allah, or is it distracting me? Is this thought making my dua more sincere or more desperate? Is my faith stronger because of them or weaker because of my obsession? If the answer is weakness, then it is not love. If the answer is distraction, then it is not guidance. True love, true signs, true nearness to Allah never come at the cost of your iman. They elevate you, they protect you, they humble you. Anything else is a warning. And if you can learn to distinguish between love, obsession and fantasy, you will protect your heart from chasing shadows and instead turn it toward the one who never confuses, who never abandons, who never misleads. Fantasy feels harmless at first. You tell yourself it is just a thought. It is just one memory. It is just a passing daydream. But slowly it becomes something bigger. It takes root in your heart and begins to shape your decisions. You find yourself checking your phone when you know there will be nothing there. You find yourself staring at their name online, waiting for a message that will never come. You imagine what life would look like together, not based on reality, but based on the story you keep writing in your mind. And before you realize it, you are no longer in control of your thoughts. They are in control of you. Fantasy does not stay small, it grows. And with every passing day it steals more of your energy, more of your focus, more of your peace. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warned us about this. He said that the eyes commit adultery, and the adultery of the eyes is the lustful look. If the eyes can fall into sin by what they dwell on, then what about the heart that clings to illusions? Fantasy is like adultery of the soul. You give your heart to someone without nikah, without reality, without commitment. You pour your emotions into something that only exists in your head. And in doing so, you weaken your bond with Allah Almighty, the one who actually writes your story. Because no one can serve two masters. Your heart cannot be consumed by fantasies of a person and still remain fully surrendered to your Lord. Sooner or later you will feel the distance. The greatest danger of fantasy is that it hardens the heart toward qada. You begin to resent the plan of Allah when it does not align with your imagination. You start to feel bitter that your du'as are not answered the way you want them. You begin to question why life is not unfolding according to the script you created in your own head. And in that bitterness your worship becomes heavy, your patience becomes thin, and your trust becomes fragile. Fantasy does not just hurt your emotions, it poisons your relationship with your Creator, because now you are no longer worshipping Him with full submission. You are negotiating, demanding, pleading for your illusion to come true. And that is where many believers fall, not because they openly rejected Allah, but because they replaced His wisdom with their imagination. The cycle is exhausting. You replay conversations like they were revelations. You analyze looks and gestures like they were divine signs. You stalk, you compare, you wait. But deep down you are not asking for clarity. You are asking for permission to hold on to something that Allah may already have closed. And the more you feed the fantasy, the weaker your faith becomes. This is why fantasy is a fitna. It looks innocent, but it quietly destroys your ability to see clearly. It convinces you that a person can give you what only Allah can give. And when you expect from people what only your Creator provides, you are bound to be disappointed. You will feel emptier, more restless, more broken, until you realize that peace is not found in illusions, but only in surrender.
When you are drowning in thoughts of someone, the easiest mistake is to assume it must be a sign. Because how could something so strong, so persistent, not be divine? But the Quran teaches us a deeper truth. Allah Almighty says in Surah Al-Baqarah, but perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you, and Allah knows while you know not. This is a verse that cuts through illusions. It reminds us that feelings are not always proof of destiny. The heart can be loud, but the heart is not always wise. Sometimes what feels irresistible is only a reflection of our weakness. Sometimes what feels unbearable to lose is exactly what would destroy us if we gained it. Only Allah sees the full picture. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, told us that the heart of the son of Adam turns more than a pot of boiling water. Imagine that image. A pot bubbling, shaking, never still. That is your heart. Always turning, always changing, never certain. How can you base your life on something so unstable? How can you call every thought a sign when your heart flips with every breeze? This is why Allah does not ask you to follow every feeling. He asks you to follow revelation. Revelation does not change. Revelation does not confuse. Revelation does not trick you. It stays firm even when your heart trembles. So if your thoughts are leading you away from obedience, they are not from Allah. If your feelings are distracting you from prayer, they are not guidance. They are whispers you must guard against. Not every test feels heavy. Some tests come disguised as attraction, as curiosity, as longing. Allah may allow someone to occupy your mind, not to bring them into your life, but to reveal what is inside your soul. He tests to expose your attachments. He tests to show you who you trust more, your emotions or your Lord. The danger is when you confuse the test with a blessing. Instead of humbling yourself, you chase the feeling. Instead of asking for protection, you beg for the fantasy to come true. But Allah loves you too much to let you succeed in destroying yourself. That is why some doors remain closed no matter how hard you knock. That is why some names keep appearing in your mind, but never in your reality. Because Allah is protecting you even while you feel rejected. The spiritual truth is simple. What pulls you closer to Allah is from Him. What pulls you away is from your nafs or from shaitan. If the thought of them makes you more grateful, more obedient, more patient, then it may carry wisdom. But if the thought of them makes you restless, careless or distant from worship, then it is a trap. Allah does not confuse His servants. He does not send guidance that darkens your heart. He does not plant love that destroys your faith. So ask yourself honestly, are these thoughts a reminder to trust Allah or an excuse to chase what He has not written? The answer is already within you. You feel it in your iman. You see it in your prayers. That is where clarity begins. So often we convince ourselves that the pain we feel is because we lost them. We think it is their absence that hurts us, their silence that breaks us, their distance that leaves us restless. But the reality is different. What you are grieving is not always the person. Many times you are grieving the version of yourself that you were when you thought they cared. You miss how alive your dua felt when you prayed for them. You miss the hope that carried you through long nights when you believed they were part of your future. You miss the excitement in your heart when you imagined life with them. That is what lingers, not them, the feeling, the version of you that believed love was near. This is why the heart holds on even when reality has already moved on. You are not clinging to their face or their presence. You are clinging to how they made you feel, seen, desired, understood. Or maybe you are clinging to what you projected onto them. The idea of who you thought they were, not who they actually are. And when that idea collapses, you feel like you lost everything. But the truth is that you never lost them. You lost your own dream. You lost the image your mind built out of longing and loneliness. And that is why it hurts so deeply, because you are mourning something that never truly existed. It is not easy to accept this. We want to believe the pain is proof of real love. We want to think that the constant thoughts are a divine connection, because if it is only our imagination, then all those nights, all those du'as, all those tears feel wasted. But nothing is wasted with Allah. Not a single tear, not a single prayer. Even if that person was not written for you, the sincerity you showed, the hope you carried, the patience you tried to hold on to, all of it is recorded, all of it is seen, and all of it will return to you as reward. So do not think your pain was pointless. It may not have brought you to them, but it can still bring you closer to Allah. So pause and reflect. When you think of them, what are you truly missing? Is it the person or the peace you thought they would bring? Is it the relationship or the version of yourself that was still dreaming? If it is the second, then know this: you are not broken because they left. You are broken because you attached your hope to them instead of attaching it fully to Allah. And the beautiful thing about hope is that it can be redirected. You can still feel alive in your dua. You can still feel peace in your heart. You can still find meaning in your nights. But this time you will not be relying on someone who was never yours. You will be relying on the one who has always been yours. This is where the real test comes. Tawakul is not about saying you trust Allah with your tongue. Tawakul is proven in the moments when your heart is screaming for something that He has not given. When your mind cannot stop thinking about them, but your faith tells you to surrender. This is the battlefield of the believer. Do you let your emotions dictate your decisions, or do you anchor yourself in the knowledge that Allah's wisdom is greater than your desire? Tawakul means stepping back when your heart wants to run forward. It means accepting silence when your soul is begging for answers. It means holding on to the truth that Allah never withholds except to protect. Ask yourself honestly, if Allah truly wanted them in your life, why are they only in your thoughts but not in your reality? Why are you holding on to dreams instead of being granted clarity? Why do the doors remain closed no matter how much you push? Sometimes we mistake stubbornness for faith. We think holding on longer means we are proving our sincerity. But faith is not proven by how tightly you grip a fantasy. Faith is proven by how quickly you let go. When Allah shows you it is not for you. Tawakul is not forcing outcomes. It is trusting outcomes. It is surrendering control to the one who already knows the ending. The nafs is clever. It can dress up desire to look like destiny. You might tell yourself that your attachment is tawakul. You convince yourself that waiting for them endlessly is a sign of faith. But if the waiting is pulling you away from prayer, if the waiting is making you restless, if the waiting is filling your heart with anger and doubt, then it is not tawakul. It is attachment. True trust never distances you from Allah. It strengthens you, it calms you, it fills you with the patience to wait without desperation and the courage to walk away without regret. Tawakul means saying, my Lord knows best even when my heart does not understand. What pulls you closer to Allah is from Him. What pulls you away is from your nafs or from shaitan. This is the standard. If your constant thoughts are making you more obedient, then they may carry wisdom. If they are making you careless, then they are a test. Do not rewrite tawakul to justify your desires. Do not call it destiny when it is really desperation. Allah does not confuse His servants. He gives signs that bring clarity, not chaos. He plants love that brings you closer to Him, not further away. So if you find yourself torn, restless and disconnected, take it as a warning. Your heart is attaching where it should not. And the cure is not to hold tighter, but to let go and trust. That is the essence of tawakul. Letting go feels like the hardest step. Your heart convinces you that if you release them, you will never feel whole again. You hold on to the thought as if it is your last lifeline. But what you do not see is that the very act of holding on is what is breaking you. Healing does not begin when they return. Healing begins when you accept that you do not need them to return. Healing begins when you turn your focus away from what has left you and back to the one who never leaves. Allah does not ask you to destroy your heart to prove your faith. He asks you to redirect it, to pour it back into His remembrance, to let His light fill the spaces you thought only a person could reach. When Allah closes a door, He does not do it out of cruelty. He does it out of protection. That silence you hate may be mercy. That distance you resent may be His shield guarding you from harm. You think you need closure from them, but true closure comes only from Allah. Because people can leave you without explanation. They can disappear without goodbye. They can move on without looking back. But Allah never leaves you without reason. He never writes pain into your life without purpose. Every heartbreak carries wisdom. Every unanswered prayer carries protection. And every delay carries a lesson. If you keep your eyes on the closed door, you will never see the window of mercy that Allah has already opened for you. This is why healing is not about forgetting them. It is about remembering yourself. It is about remembering that you were whole before they entered your life, and you will be whole after they leave. It is about remembering that your worth does not depend on their attention. It depends on your connection to Allah. Letting go does not mean erasing memories. It means releasing control. It means saying, Ya Allah, I trust that what you take away is not meant for me, and what you keep for me will never pass me by. That is when peace enters. That is when the weight begins to lift. That is when the thoughts lose their power, because your heart is no longer chained to a person. It is freed in surrender to the one who owns all hearts. Clarity does not come only by waiting. It comes when you take deliberate steps to align your heart with Allah. The first step is dua, but not vague dua. Be specific. Say, Ya Allah, if this person is good for my deen, my heart and my akhirah, then bring them closer in a way that brings me closer to you. And if they are not, then remove them gently and heal the part of me that still wants them. This prayer is powerful because it is honest. It acknowledges both your desire and your surrender. It tells Allah that you are willing to let go if letting go is better. And that act of surrender itself brings peace, because deep down you know that He will never withhold what is truly good for you. The second step is guarding your mind from feeding the fantasy. Your heart cannot heal if your eyes keep reopening the wound. That means stop replaying old messages. Stop scrolling through pictures. Stop looking for signs in every post or update. Healing requires discipline. When you control what you see, you begin to control what you feel. Along with this, replace the triggers with light. Open the Quran, fill your ears with dhikr. Spend time with people who remind you of Allah. The heart is like soil. Whatever you water will grow. If you water memories, obsession will grow. If you water faith, tranquility will grow. The choice is always in your hands. The third step is practical reflection. Write your thoughts. Journal the emotions that keep circling in your head. Ask yourself what you are really craving. Is it the person, or is it the feeling of being wanted, loved, noticed? Most times you will realize that it is not them, it is what you felt with them. And that is something Allah can restore without them. He can place people in your life who bring that same warmth, but without the pain. He can give you friendships, family bonds, even strangers who remind you of your worth. But you must clear the space first. You cannot keep holding on to a fantasy and expect Allah to replace it with reality. Take the step, write it out, pray it out, live it out, live it out, and trust that Allah will guide your heart to clarity. My dear brothers and sisters, remember this. You are not weak because someone stays in your mind. You are not broken because your heart cannot let go overnight. You are simply human. And being human means feeling deeply, sometimes more deeply than you can explain. But your strength will be shown in how you respond. Do you let the thoughts consume you, or do you use them as a reminder to turn back to Allah? This is where your faith is tested. Not in the absence of pain, but in the way you handle the pain. You cannot always choose what enters your heart, but you can choose where your heart finally rests. And there is no safer place than with the one who created it. So take this moment as your turning point. Do not wait for a perfect time to start healing. Do not wait for a sign written in the clouds. The sign is already in your chest. The heaviness you feel is proof enough that something needs to change. Let today be the day you say, Ya Allah, I am tired of holding what is not mine. I surrender to you. I trust your plan even when I do not understand it. That surrender is not weakness. That surrender is the beginning of peace. Because when you finally let go of what weighs you
you down, your heart becomes light enough to rise. Understand this clearly. No one sent by Allah will ever pull you away from Him. No one written for you will require you to compromise your faith to keep them. If being attached to them weakens your salah, weakens your dhikr, weakens your peace, then it is not love, it is a distraction. Allah does not guide through confusion. He guides through clarity. He guides through peace. So if your heart is restless, take it as a warning. Do not call desperation destiny. Do not call obsession love. Call it what it is, a test, and treat it like one. Pass it by returning to Allah, not by chasing what He has removed.
Let this be the dua you carry forward. Ya Allah, if this person is written for me, bring them into my life in a way that brings me closer to you. And if they are not, remove them gently and replace them with something better. Heal my heart, strengthen my iman, and never let me attach to what distances me from you. That is how you reclaim your peace. That is how you free yourself from the endless cycle of thoughts. And that is how you begin to walk forward with strength. The truth is simple. You were never forgotten. You were never abandoned. Allah has always been near. He is closer than your jugular vein. He hears the whispers you cannot even say aloud. He knows the tears you hide in the darkness. And He will never leave you empty if you turn back to Him with sincerity. This is your moment. Do not delay. Return to Him now and you will find a peace greater than anything this world could ever give.